Hello, hello, hello. Exhale, breathe, family. Welcome to Exhale, Breathe, the healing journey continues. How y'all doing this Sunday afternoon? Yeah, yesterday was long, so I didn't get to come on. But of course, like I always say, if I don't come Saturday, I will follow up Sunday. Yes, I will. I will be here. How y'all doing? How was y'all week? And are y'all ready for the new week? Hope you are. Hope y'all are blessed and at peace and full of joy. Let's recap. So I left off talking about being in a relationship with my first husband, um, trying to get away, always ending back up at the house. Um, Fighting, you know, um, just in a really bad situation for a 16-year-old girl. Um, and so that's where we're going to pick up at. I left off at running up, letting the garage up and running out, trying to get away. And I did that a few times. And then I stopped because it was just almost no point because he would always find me and I would always go back because what I've learned over time and you know learning about manipulation and narcissist and control and all those things, he was all that. So his manipulation was A1 certified. Like he can sell you a whole dream that he know he can't even fulfill, And if you were like me at the time, um, foolish, gullible, trauma filled, then those type of men will get you every time, especially with the manipulation. They will make you think everything is your fault. You're the blame for whatever is happening. When in fact, yeah, you ain't done nothing. And he knows you ain't done nothing. And so, over time, being pregnant with my first, um, knowing that he had a baby, another baby on the way, like they not even a good year apart, those two children. Um, finding out that he was a pimp, um, and then just going through all the things that I had to go through was a bit much, to say the least. And like I said, it only got worse. Me not fighting back only got worse because it put him in more control. And the closer it was for me to give birth, um, like it was my first baby. I didn't know anything about Braxton Hicks contractions. I didn't know anything about false labor. I didn't know nothing about those things. Those things wasn't talked to me. No one ever talked to me about having babies and what to look for or look toward or none of that, none of those things. And so um, I started having Braxton Hicks contractions. And of course, them was some pretty harsh pains. Um, and I would be home alone. And the sad part about that was I could never reach him. I would always have to call one of his sisters because, again, he isolated me from my own family. And I didn't want my grandmother in nothing, she's my grandmother. But I didn't have a relationship with my mom at that particular time, and I hadn't really had a relationship with anyone for that matter besides my grandmother. And so I was only able to rely on his folks. And they came through, they really did. His two older sisters, they really did. At the beginning, they was there. But I never could get a hold of him. And then, you know, um, time came for me to give birth, and he couldn't even stay there for that. My grandmother was there for that. No one else was really there for that. I mean, he took me to the hospital, bought my grandmother some food, and he left. Yeah. I ended up going over to my grandmother's so that she could help me because, again, I'm a first time mom. He's in the streets, and I know I needed some help. So I ended up going over there, spending time. And my grandfather was kind of messy. um, my daughter, you will never be able to tell unless, but when she came out, she didn't look black, African American. She looked like she can be in between Hispanic and Caucasian, a mixture of both. You won't be able to tell that now because she is very African American. But I remember he came to see us at my grandmother's, and I don't know what possessed my grandfather to be messy that day, but he actually told that man, like, "You sure that's your baby? It looked like a Mexican man baby." Again, no one knew the abuse that I was in. They didn't know that this man was a very physically abusive. Um, but it still to me wasn't a way to play. Um, because that's somebody's child. And he looked at me, and I mean, he was livid. Like, and I'm just like, dude, like, this your child. Like, I guess she's bright, really red. I can't change that. But she's yours. We can DNA it, whatever you need to do. But, she's yours. And we argued. He left. He didn't want to come back. All the things. And my granddaddy thought it was just too hilarious. And it wasn't. It caused more tension, more, and you didn't know what you was making me walk into. Um, Finally I went back home, and Everything was okay for maybe a month or two before the BS started again. And so, by that being my first child, and she's a girl, I was probably way too protective, but I wouldn't change it. I really wouldn't, because coming from where I come from, nothing is off limits. Like, I look at everybody with a suspicious eye until you show me something different. You know, like, I'm always gonna protect my children. And she was a girl, so you can't tell me, no one could tell me, oh, her daddy won't mess with her, because my daddy did. So all the things people would try to say to me was none and void, because I had already experienced these things at the hands of all the people that people were saying wouldn't do it. Right? So you can't tell me that. And I remember one morning, um, our bathroom was in our room, and she woke up. She was in the bed with us. She woke up. He woke up, and he needed to use the bathroom. And because she was woke, he took her in the bathroom with him. Woo! Y'all talking about lost it? Lost it. Rolled over, didn't feel her. I'm like, of course I get up, looking for her. He in the bathroom, she in there, and I'm just like, why is she in there? Why do you have her in the bathroom? Like, I'm right here. You could have woke me up if it was that serious. We had a fight about that, which that was a fight I would fight any day, anytime, on anybody's clock. Understand that. Anytime. That's a fight that I'm always be up for. And he was like, what you mean? You acting like I'm gonna do something to my daughter. Baby, I ain't saying that you're gonna do nothing to your daughter, but what I am saying is there's no reason or point for her to be in the bathroom with you. Especially if you're saying that you went to use the bathroom. Why did she need to be there? I'm in the bed. Yes, I'm asleep. Wake me up. I didn't want her to fall out the bed. Okay. Push over, up under me. Like, all the excuses wasn't working for me to the reason. And that day, we had a knockout drag out, because he assumed that I was saying he was going to hurt her in some type of way. But again, like I said, I don't put nothing past anyone, not even a daddy. And life only got harder after that. Like, he would be gone. Like, I didn't know how to drive at the time. So I had to rely on him and his folks to do or go or whatever. And till I learned how to drive myself so that I wouldn't be stuck. And, because I was isolated from my family, um, it was hard for me to get away. People love to say, why you stay, and why you put up with that, and I don't understand, it couldn't have been me, all the things. And it bothers me. Even today it bothers me, because you don't know what you would deal with until you in that situation. Yeah, a lot of people can walk away because their their mindset is different, their upbringing is different, their teaching Whoever taught them different. So when you're judging people, make sure not to. Because your lifestyle, what you was taught, how you was taught, may be so much different than the next. Again, like I didn't, no one had conversations with me to tell me a man is not supposed to beat on you. A man ain't supposed to call you out your name. A man ain't supposed to cheat on you. A man ain't supposed to abuse you in no shape, form, or fashion. No one had those conversations with me. No one told me about being a teenage mom, getting pregnant, having to deal with that. No one told me about postpartum depression. No one told me about how life was going to look or possibly look after having a child, as a child. No one. And so a person that parents have talk to them, not just talk to them, but even show them what healthy relationships look like, what not supposed to happen in relationships. When a father teaches his daughter, you know, this is how a man is supposed to treat you. When a father teaches his daughter how to be treated, whether it's through him showing her directly or her mother or his wife, if he's not with her mother, he is showing the model of what a man is supposed to be in a woman's life. You have a different outlook than someone that has never been showed or told that. Please stop being so judgmental of people, because it's real out here. It's real out here. And everybody can't just walk away. Like, I I tried so many times to leave and ended right back up there, because guess why? Now I'm a teenager with a child and don't nobody want to deal with that. You think you grown, so go on back over there and be grown. No one wanted to deal with that. Everybody's not accepting to things like that. And like I said, I would leave, he would find me, I would go back, and that became a cycle. And then he would he started doing worse shit. Excuse my language. But when we would get into it, he would start taking my daughter and leaving with her because he knew that I wouldn't leave without her. I would not leave. I used to, that was some hard stuff. That was some challenging times for me. And the sad part was, he would take her and take her to another woman. He would take my daughter and take her for another woman to keep her. The woman would call me and be like, he needs to come get your daughter. And I'm like, what? Like, he didn't even have enough decency to take her to his folks. I mean, he did a few times throughout that cycle of him taking my daughter and, to prevent me from leaving. And that became so hard. That became so hard. And I'm going to tell you the effed up part about the law in society. He would take her. If I call the police, the first thing they say, do you have guardianship over her? I'm her mom. Well, do y'all have a court order? No, we don't. Ain't nothing we can do. He have just as much rights to her as you do. Are you serious? I'm telling you, we had a fight. And that's the only reason why he took her. Ain't nothing we can do. You can go get a court order, and that's the only way. That went on for some years, actually. Again, before you pass judgment on people that's in situations that you're not familiar with, that you don't understand, try not to be judgmental. Because if you
Somebody just hit my window.
um before you become judgmental, know that it's not always cut dry. Walk away. It's just not. I would never, ever leave my children. I would die first. I would die first. And he knew that. He knew that. And so reaching out to the police, them not doing anything, just kept me in this cycle where I stayed with him. I stayed with him. And then he got sick. Very sick. Yeah. And you would think that would have been my outlet. And yet it wasn't. So I'm going to stop with that. And that's where we'll pick up next Saturday. I appreciate all that has tuned in, all that is subscribed, all that is following, all that is sharing. Please, 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 I ask of you to share my messages, share my story with someone that's hopeless, that doesn't have any hope, don't know how to get out. We will talk about it. We're coming up on it. We're coming up on it. But in order to learn how to get out of it, you got to learn how to go through it, because some things, like I said, are not easy and it's not clear cut. Sometimes you have to make a plan. Sometimes you have to be strategic in your exit, because abusers are abusers and they can turn bad at any given point. And so, with that being said, like, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Exhale Breathe. Go watch the videos. They're on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. And I will see you lovelies on next Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I love y'all. I'll talk to y'all soon. Y'all be blessed and have a wonderful, wonderful week. Bye for now.